Hello and welcome. This is Preparing for the Holidays, Profitable Campaign Tips for Busy Restaurant Owners. Produced by Nation's Restaurant News, this program is being sponsored and presented by Paytronix. Paytronix is a digital customer engagement platform for restaurants, convenience stores, and retailers seeking to develop lasting relationships with their guests. For 20 plus years, Paytronix has worked to identify the multiple components of comprehensive digital customer engagement and incorporate them into a unified resource. I'm Alan Little, and on behalf of NRN, I'll be moderator for today's program with Jill Crowley of Paytronix. Jill will step in here in a minute, but I'll first take care of some housekeeping. If at any time today you experience difficulties with the audio or the slides do not advance, press the F5 key on a Windows system to refresh your webinar console. Use the Command and R key on an Apple device. If that fails, look to the Help widget at the bottom of your screen or type your technical question into the Q&A area. That Q&A area is also where you can enter questions you might have about our topic. Type yours in at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can later in the session. So this presentation is being recorded for on-demand viewing. You'll receive an email with a link when that replay is available. Before I hand off to Jill, please let me tell you a bit about her. Jill Crowley is a leader on the strategy and analytics team at Paytronix, focusing on loyalty and personalization strategies. She draws on experience in retail, financial services, and healthcare from positions at CVS Health, Techstars, Athena Health, and EZ Software, among others. That helps her optimize the customer engagement and retention that mark a productive loyalty program. Jill has an MBA from the University of Michigan's Stephen M. Ross School of Business, where she was a Forte Fellow and co-managing director of the Wolverine Venture Fund. Okay, so you know how to handle your webinar console and you know a bit about Jill. So I'll let Jill get to sharing what she knows. Jill.
Perfect. Thanks, Alan. And hi, everyone. Excited to talk to you today about the holidays. It's hard to believe that we already need to start talking about them, but it is. So today we will talk through a bunch of different things. We'll start with why it's important to focus on the holidays. You all are here, so you probably know a little bit about that. And then we'll get into developing your holiday campaign strategy. We'll touch on gift card promotions, the mobile app optimization for the holiday, social media and marketing strategies, and then staff training and management. And as Alan said, I'm on the strategy and analytics team, so want to make sure we touch on analytics as well. So we'll wrap it up and talk a little bit about analytics at the end. All right, so why focus on the holidays? Well, as consumers ourselves, we all know that our behaviors change during the holidays. There are lots of different parties and traditions to fulfill. There's gifts to purchase, gatherings to prepare for. It's a very stressful and busy time for everyone. And that, of course, translates over to the restaurant business. So to help with this busy time, consumers really turn to restaurants to ease the burden. So we know that 60% of consumers plan to dine out at a restaurant during the holidays, and 50% intend to order takeout or delivery for a gathering at home. And then, of course, everyone's purchasing lots of gifts, and one of those is gift cards to their favorite restaurants. And so December ends up being the biggest month for restaurant gift cards, surpassing most other months by a multiple of nearly 6. Since there is so much going on during this time, it's really important to start planning your strategies in advance to take advantage of all these different behavior shifts that are going to be happening during that holiday season. So we'll dive right in and we'll talk a little bit about developing your holiday campaign strategy. So there are a few key components to consider as you are building your holiday campaign strategy. As always, anytime you're thinking about campaign strategy, you want to identify the right audience, the right offer, and the right time to send your campaign. Of course, this is always true, but it's really important, as we talked about in the last slide, to think about the behavior shifts that are happening and how that's going to impact the way a guest engages with your restaurant. For example, your guests might be out and about shopping for gifts. So how can you make sure that they choose your restaurant for their lunch dinner break? A few ways to do this. One is updating your creative to be holiday themed. So guests, consumers, they love to get in the spirit and enjoy when restaurants really lean into kind of the holiday seasonal themes. That could include, your email creative, but also thinking about in-store decorations as well, and kind of creating that warm and inviting environment for people to dine with you. Another thing to lean into is to promote your seasonal menu items. So, do you have certain items that only come around during the holidays, or are there certain items that might fit in with the holidays that you'd want to promote more during this time? I think the classic example I think of is the Starbucks red cups. So, that really kind of screams holiday to me when I think about that. And Starbucks uses that as a great way to drive people in to purchase, coffee and other beverages with them in those red cups. The other thing is that it can be really hard to stand out with all of the holiday promotions that are going on. It's a really busy time for marketing. So, picking campaign types that are a little bit more engaging can help stand out in kind of the noise there. So, we'll talk on the next few slides a little bit about an instant wins option or click to load can help capture that guest attention. The click to load can be really great too in ensuring that guests are intentionally redeeming rewards with your brand and not just kind of stumbling upon one when they check in with you. And then finally, guests also appreciate a little thanks at this time of year. We all know it's been a challenging few years for everyone, and so kind of any help with special perks throughout the year can help make guests feel appreciated. To share an example of a Paytronix client promoting seasonal items, we have this caribou pumpkin case study here. So a little bit more relevant to the current times with fall, but of course could be applied to the holiday season coming up. So Caribou leveraged some of our segmentation tools that looked at past purchase behavior to personalize their offers related to their pumpkin LTOs, and they saw great success with that. So they saw a 35% year-over-year increase in pumpkin-flavored menu items and a 38% lift in visits for the food segment. And so, the way to use this is if you have access to the past purchase behavior, thinking about has someone previously purchased a holiday or LTO item with you? If they're kind of consistently purchasing these new LTO items with you, they might not need a reward or offer to get in and come and try it. The people who have limited exposure to your LTOs, those might be the ones that you want to spend a little bit of money into and rewarding them to try to get them in for trial with that. Another option that we talked about on the engaging campaign side was the instant wins. So this example here was a casual dining brand that used the instant wins functionality to engage their members during a 7-week promo. And when we say instant wins, kind of think about the spin to win examples that you might have received before. And the way that we do it at Paytronix is you can select a certain subset of rewards and assign a percentage that someone will win those rewards. So you can give your richest reward a lower percentage and kind of your lower value reward a higher percentage. So you're not giving away all high value rewards and you're kind of throttling how many people are getting each one. It kind of helps add that layer of gamification and excitement to a campaign while also kind of limiting that financial impact. And this particular client had great results with it. They had a 25% increase in visits, a 22% increase in enrollment, and 168% ROI on the campaign. So great results there. So we'll shift gears a little bit here and talk about gift cards. So another key component of the holidays where gift is, such a huge component of sales during the holidays. And in general, gift cards offer a few great benefits to restaurants. The first being achieving more predictable revenue, having higher margins than selling food and drink, and it's a great customer acquisition channel. Of course, you want to make sure that your guests know that you offer gift cards and that they're aware of any promotions that you are running during the holidays. So you want to make sure you're promoting your gift cards across all of your messaging tools, whether it's loyalty and eClub. You want to be promoting it on your own channels as well as in store, put it using signage to promote the gift cards. And then finally, making sure that you are training and providing incentives to staff they are going to be your biggest advocates in promoting gift cards directly to guests. And so it's really important to make sure that they feel comfortable with gift cards and talking about them and executing them, and potentially have an incentive to get involved and drive those sales for you. Let's talk a little bit about a few different types of gift card promotions and best practices with each one. So first we have bonus cards. So these are an example of, buy a $50 gift card, you'll get a $10 bonus card for use in the future. Typically, these bonus cards are around 20 to 30% of the gift card value that the person is purchasing. And we recommend that the bonus cards become eligible on January 1st to help drive that post-holiday traffic, and that you do set an expiration on them so that, if after 60, 90 days, someone hasn't come in and redeemed that bonus card, that it does expire and kind of come off of your books there. The second promotion is that we'll go into a little bit more detail on the next slide, as well as talking about flash sales. So these are utilizing bonus cards, but increasing the value on particular days throughout the holiday season. So, for example, buying a $50 gift card in the month of December, you might receive the $10 bonus card, but on December 15th, you're going to receive a $15 bonus card. And so this can help drive sales on that particular day and kind of give that extra incentive for someone to purchase the gift card with you. Obviously, people have lots of different choices to make when they're selecting the gift cards. And so kind of doing that flash excitement sale might help them make that decision to purchase it with you. We've also seen success with online and in-store promotions. So if you really want to drive kind of more digital purchased gift cards, you might want to give a little bit of a richer bonus card for online purchases to help incentivize that behavior there. Duffy's is a great example of how they have used flash sales to increase their gift card sales during the holidays. So they have been using gift cards with Paytronix for a very long time, but in 2020, they implemented flash sales to help boost their sales even more. And so these flash sales, 3 days during the holiday season, they include a bonus card to incentivize guests to buy their cards on those days. And their results since implementing the flash sales have been really great. 31% of their total gift card sales occur on the flash sales during the holidays. They saw a 10% lift in year-over-year physical gift card sales and a 21% overall year-over-year lift with the addition of e-gift. So important to really think about kind of all these components, the online, the in-store, and how the bonus cards can help drive whatever behavior that you're seeking. We'll switch gears slightly and we'll talk a little bit about the mobile app now. So it's important to extend your holiday mindset across all of your channels, so including your mobile app here. We all know consumers, we are all on our phones all the time these days. So it's really important to meet your guests where they are. We know that 76% of US adults shop online with a smartphone compared to 69% who shop on a desktop device. And it just makes it easier for your brand to really be top of mind as consumers visit family and friends more often during this period. They're kind of on the go and you want to make sure that you're meeting them there. A few ways to kind of do this and reach those consumers is to customize the mobile app for holiday promotions and information. So it could be updating creative within your mobile app to be seasonal. It could be updating store hours in case you are changing your hours during the holidays and letting your guests know that you're open for longer hours. It's also about incorporating your loyalty and online ordering offers in the app so that everything is in one place for the guest. And then finally, consider utilizing geofencing functionality to help capture the guest's attention when they are shopping nearby. And so geofencing, looks at the location of a mobile phone, and if they come within a certain radius of a particular restaurant, you're able to message them with an offer or even just, creative message copy, kind of reminding them that, hey, you're nearby to one of our restaurants, why don't you come in? So to provide an example of that last one, the geofencing, we turned to California Pizza Kitchen. So they were able to leverage the geofencing functionality to entice their guests during the National Pizza Month promo. And they targeted guests within 1 to 2 miles of a California Pizza Kitchen with an offer, and they saw an 18% visit rate lift compared to their control group. So they gave the target group an offer, and then the control group didn't receive anything, and they were able to see that 18% visit lift by having that geofencing message sent with the offer. So great strategy, particularly when people are kind of so busy, not totally thinking ahead, to just put that reminder out to them. A few more considerations for the holidays to cover. The first is social media and marketing strategies. So making sure that you are planning ahead, that you're creating your designs that are seasonally relevant and brand aligned. You are starting your campaign earlier, or perhaps ending it later so that you can kind of take advantage of the businesses that or starting later than other businesses to take advantage of those consumers kind of on either end, the proactive and the last minute shoppers as well. And of course, kind of being relevant, using relevant hashtags to kind of fit in. And really important, social media, to just kind of incorporate it into your overall marketing efforts, and making sure that you have kind of everything integrated with your marketing strategy there. And it's also important to think ahead about staff training and management. So make sure that you are training staff about holiday services, products, promotions, and that you're preparing for any increased traffic. And then finally, wanted to touch on measuring campaign success. So, running a campaign is great, but understanding the results is even better. And there's so much data to comb through. So it's really important to be able to analyze the performance of your campaigns to share the results internally to your stakeholders. So there's a few key ways we recommend doing this. The first is implementing a target and control campaign setup to measure the incrementality. And this might not be possible all the time, but this is going to be the best way for you to measure your campaign success. And so the way that you would set this up is that you have a target group that's receiving your campaign reward strategy. And then you have a control group, which is within the same segment, that does not receive the reward and campaign. And so we're able to measure in the exact same time frame, did the target group outperform the control group, and therefore we can attribute that to the campaign strategy. During the holidays, you might want to be promoting something more widespread, and so it might not be possible to hold out a target and control. And in that case, you might want to think a little bit more creatively. You might want to analyze the redemption behavior. So looking at, how many redemptions you had, what was the redemption spend associated with it. Also digging into who were the redeemers. So were they active guests that you were able to kind of thank for their commitment to you this year? Was it a lapsed guest that you were able to re-engage during this season? So kind of getting those little nuggets of stats associated with who you were able to re-engage can help frame your success of the campaign. It can also be good to look year over year at performance and recommend using kind of a year-over-year approach as opposed to looking at a pre-period because of all the shifts that we've discussed so far today with behavior during the holidays. We really want to make sure that we're looking at the same period during the year so that we can kind of take out any of the noise with the seasonality there. And then really thinking about other ways that someone might have engaged with your brand, whether it's looking at the mobile app, email engagement, kind of any of those components can help build the kind of picture of what your campaign did for your brand. And I think that is all we had for today. I know we went quickly through everything, but excited to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Jill, for those insights, observations, and examples. We have had some questions come in, so why don't we ask a few? One asks, what other gift card promo ideas do you recommend in addition to bonus cards?
Yes, great question. I think depends a bit on what is technically possible, as always. Bonus cards is one of the big ones that we see at Paytronix, but there are different other options like doing a percentage off of a gift card or perhaps kind of bundling gift card purchases together. So if you buy a certain amount, perhaps you get something, a free item that you can purchase that day. Technically too, if you're able to connect to loyalty, it can be a great way to connect your loyalty and gift cards and give rewards for purchasing gift cards with your loyalty program. So maybe you're giving them points or a free item off. Something that they can enjoy today is always something they can enjoy.
Good to know. Thank you. Here's a question that asks, what would be other examples of other click to win campaigns, I guess? Got any other examples of click to win?
Yeah, so click to win, the instant wins is one that we see a lot of clients use. The click to load functionality can also be successful kind of with any campaign. So you might want to think about the segmentation for your campaign, and then depending on who you're targeting, adjust the reward that's available for the click to load. So maybe for your more active guests, you're giving them a little bit less rich of a reward. And then for your kind of more lapsed guests, maybe you're giving them a little bit more of a richer reward there. And so that kind of gives you the functionality of being personalized and using that click to load functionality that lets you not just give away rewards to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Here's another question that asks, for gift cards and bonus cards, do you recommend a fixed amount for the bonus cards? Say buy 50, get 10?
Yeah, so typically we see most people do kind of the 20 to 30% of the value. So it could be that fixed amount, or if you're, able to do like a percentage off with it, that also works. But we see kind of the 20 to 30% range in terms of the give back for the bonus cards being the most successful there.
Okay, good to know. Question here asks about overcoming challenges. What are common challenges restaurant owners face during the holiday season, and what strategies have proven effective in overcoming these obstacles?
Yes, good question. And I'm sure you all know some of those challenges. But of course, there's just lots of change during the holiday season to account for within the restaurants. So it could be that new food and drink items that we talked about. Maybe you're kind of having a different setup within store. You have new store decorations. There's these new processes that you are implementing and having a lot of use for with the gift cards, the bonus cards, that kind of creates extra work for the servers and staff to figure out how that all functions. And then I think there's also just consumers during this time can be happy or grumpy because of this season. There's a lot going on. And so having to deal kind of with those personalities, of course, always create extra challenges. So recommendation for kind of how to deal with this is really about preparation. So just making sure that you're really communicating all of your changes up front, you're planning ahead. You want to communicate something several times to your stores, to your staff. I always think about, I think there's a saying that it takes some people around 5 times to hear something before they internalize it. And so repeating that, planning your promotions in advance, and then also using your signage and your channels to kind of take some of that heavy lifting off of the servers and the staff.
Have you been talking to my wife? That 5-time rule, I think.
Yes.
I think I've heard that before at home. I don't know. There is a question here that asks, is it best to advertise as fixed amount, or is advertising a percentage of total acceptable?
Yes. So I think that the fixed amount is a little bit easier to understand as a consumer. They don't have to do the math. And so I would probably lean more towards the fixed amount than doing kind of the percentage off there.
Okay. Easier often is a good way to go. And folks, we have a little room for a few more questions. If you have some, I have some questions here. I'm not going to let Jill get away yet, but if you have one in mind and you're on the fence, get that question in here. We'd love it. Here is a question that asks, what are the most effective ways to integrate gift card promotions with other holiday marketing strategies to maximize guest engagement?
Yeah, so really important to think about promoting your gift card promotions kind of everywhere that you exist. And so that can be in store, making sure that you have signage. It can be promoting it to kind of whatever channels you have to communicate. So if you have an email database, your loyalty, your e-club members, utilizing your website, your social media channels. And then, of course, we've talked about it a bunch of times today, but thinking about those operations, the in-store staff training and the incentives that you might want to give to them to help drive the promotions for Gift for You.
Great, thank you. Question here asks, how do you measure the success of holiday campaigns? Here's a big one. Nice big broad question. How do you measure the success of holiday campaigns?
Yes. So I know we talked a little bit about a few options during the presentation. And I'll kind of reiterate, the best way is going to be with that target and control campaign setup. And so that's going to allow you to attribute the performance directly to your campaign, since you are comparing a similar audience during the exact same time. But the holidays are probably a very key component or key time of the year where you might not be able to do that because you do want to promote it more widely. And that's where I think, diving into the data a little bit more, comparing it to different periods, year over year, digging into who's visiting your brand during the holidays, and you taking advantage of your campaigns can try to build that picture for you of who else you might be engaging with your holiday campaigns. And so those can be wins to celebrate, even if it's not, a direct number that you can attribute to the campaign. You can, give some more broader stats on you and, re-engaged 1,000 lapsed members that hadn't visited in 6 months, or you were able to, thank 50 of your active members with a special, surprise treat on their visit during the month.
And apologize if I missed this while I was checking the questions, but as far as effectiveness goes, also might you not measure how many of those folks brought their bonus cards in and helped fill the slow start of the year? That to me would seem, I thought that was a great bit of advice as far as having those timed out so that people would come in during traditionally slower times and see what's going on. Okay, well, we have a question here that asks, what is the optimal timeline for planning holiday promotion? And how early should restaurants start preparing to ensure a successful holiday season?
Yes. So I would say now or even earlier. You just really want to make sure you have enough time to finalize your strategy, obtain your creative assets, set up, test any technical components. If you need new rewards set up, if you need to test the bonus card setup. And of course, we've talked many times about informing your staff and training them. It's also important to think about every other restaurant brand is going to be requesting assistance from vendors at this time. And so you want to make sure, you have enough time to be prepared before launch, since there's going to be so much going on across every brand. And you want to make sure that you get your needs fulfilled.
Thanks. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our look at preparing for the holidays and profitable campaign tips for busy restaurant owners. Before we walk off into the sunset, though, please let me offer a hearty thanks to today's topic expert, Jill Crowley of Paytronix. Also needed is a very big thank you to Paytronix for its sponsorship of this program. You and the audience are also worthy of a heartfelt thanks for your time and questions. If we didn't get to your question, someone will get back to you later, perhaps, if they can help you. And so we know that we would like you to please join us for future NRN webinars. But for now, know that all of us here wish you a very good day.